If you're a blogger who's interested in starting your own niche site, then this video is for you. I work with a lot of bloggers who want to start a niche site on the side, and they think the same principles of blogging apply to niche sites, and that's not exactly the case. There are definitely some key differences between niche sites and blogging that are important to understand if you want to get started on the right foot with your own niche site. Now, before we get in, I just want to talk about the power of niche sites. So what you're looking at here is a screenshot from Olivia. She's one of my students inside of Niche Site Academy, and she's posting inside of the Facebook group saying, "Today's a super exciting day. I was officially accepted into Mediavine for my niche site. I published my first post June 1st, which was less than a year ago, and reached 50,000 sessions a couple months ago. I have a Zoic ads on my site currently, and I've earned almost $1,000 so far." So niche sites are a great way to make a side hustle income. They're pretty straightforward if you know what you're doing. You're looking for profitable niches, low competition keywords, and publishing lots of content. And with that model, you can get a site up to a couple $1,000s per month or a lot more than that. And just a quick note, my premium training program, Niche Site Academy, opens up on May 23rd for 5 days only. This is the go-to course for starting, growing, and scaling a niche site from scratch, and it's only open from May 23rd for 5 days. I'll leave a link to the waitlist in the description below. So difference number one is that niche sites focus on the audience first. And what I mean by that is that with our content on a niche site, we are concerned about what people are searching for in Google, right? Our so-called audience. What problems do they have? What questions do they have? And we're gonna base our entire content strategy around what people are searching for. Now, with a blog, at least traditional blogging, bloggers like to kind of interject or inject themselves rather into their blog, into their content, into their posts, where they make their blog, if not all about them, at least they're kind of a central point of the site. With a niche site, I mean, you can get yourself in the story a little bit in the content, but really the content is all about your audience, what they're searching for, again, what problems and questions they have. So it's audience first. And the thing to remember about a niche site is we're not really trying to build a following, okay? People aren't coming to our site to see what we did last weekend or where we went on vacation with our kids. They are finding individual pieces of content through Google, content that, again, is going to help them out on whatever they're searching for. So your tagline and your story are much less important when it comes to a niche site. And then the other thing about, focusing on our audience first is that we're going to focus in on one audience. And what I mean by that is we're not going to write about travel and parenting and recipes and gardening and personal finance all on one site. We want to become the authority in one niche. And so understanding that we're focused on an audience of people who are all interested in the same thing really helps us zero in on that one niche. Okay, difference number two is post frequency. So with a lot of bloggers, they're very concerned about their quote content calendar, right? I want to post every Tuesday at 10 o'clock and every Thursday at 10 o'clock because they may have an audience of people who are visiting their homepage, right? They might have a following or they want to have a following, and so they need to consistently produce content at the same time every week just in case people visit their homepage. With a niche site, the truth is no one is really visiting your homepage. So having that schedule, that hard schedule of every Tuesday and every Thursday doesn't really matter. Again, people are going to find your content through Google search. So you could post 10 articles one day and no articles for the rest of the week, and that's totally fine. We're not worried about a content calendar. We want to get as much content up as possible, which I'll talk about in the next point. Okay, the difference number three is that the volume of content is much more important on a niche site. So while there's no real content calendar, and so our schedule doesn't really matter, the volume of content has arguably become the most important factor in having a successful niche site. Because the easiest way to think about this is the more quality content that we have gives us more opportunities to rank in Google, get traffic, and get income from that traffic, right? So every post that we publish on our niche site is a new chance to rank and earn income. So the more content that you have, the better position that you'll be in, right? Think about a niche site with 500 quality pieces of content and compare that to a niche site with 50 pieces of content. All other things being equal, of course, the site that has 500 posts is in a much better position to rank and earn money from ads and affiliates. Niche sites really have become a publishing game, publishing in volume over a long period of time. And the area you see people kind of give up is in those first 6 months, and maybe they only have like 20 pieces of content on their site and they're not getting any traffic. That's where you see people drop off in the niche site game. A, because their site is just too young, and B, they don't have enough content, so they're not seeing success. With a niche site, you need to give it at least 12 months, and I would say 10 to 15, maybe even 20 pieces of content per month when you start to really see success. So when you think about niche sites, the volume of content is very, very important. Okay, difference number 4 is we're less reliant on Pinterest. So one of the things that I love about niche sites is that I'm not playing the Pinterest hamster wheel game as a lot of bloggers do, where they're dependent on Pinterest traffic, so they have to consistently add new pin images, and just play that whole Pinterest game. With niche sites, at least the way me and my students build them, we're entirely after Google and SEO traffic. So it's really an active versus passive traffic strategy, where Pinterest, it's much more active. There's much more work required on your end. And Pinterest, let's be honest, is getting less and less reliable and effective for a content strategy. With SEO, it's not passive traffic. You obviously have to create the content and rank it, but once it's ranking, that traffic is mostly passive, right? And the way that we do it in my program is we just get on to the next post, right? We publish an article and that's it. We don't really promote it. We don't have to do images for Pinterest. We don't promote it in Facebook groups or anything like that. We let Google take care of it. So we publish a post once and then move on to the next one. There's no pinning all day long with Pinterest or any of that. It's strictly focused on SEO, and we're not wasting any time on social media. All right, difference number 5 is that we're focused on monetization at the beginning. So you see a lot of bloggers get into blogging to blog about their passions, right? What are they interested in? What can they write about? What do they think about all day long that they can share with people? Which is fine, right? There's nothing really wrong with that. The advice kind of makes sense. The problem is when you enter a niche that is too competitive or you can't monetize it because it's a passion project, right? With niche sites, we're focused on traffic and income at the very beginning. Can you make money with this niche site, and can you rank it in Google, right? So competition plays a big part of monetization as well. So we tend to focus on consumer-centric niches like gardening, right? Or hobbies, right? Skiing, coffee, right? Things like of that nature. Hobby, consumer-focused niches where there's audiences of people who are actually looking to spend money, which helps from an affiliate angle, and it also helps from a display ad angle, because advertisers want to advertise on your site if it appeals to people who are spending money. But the most important thing to understand is that we do all of this research way at the beginning before deciding on our niche. We don't just write about what we're passionate about, because that's not the best way to make a site that actually earns money. So we're focused on traffic and monetization at the very beginning before we, create our website or write any content. We focus a lot of time picking the right niche at the beginning. All right, the last thing I want to say is that, in my opinion, the niche site game has really changed over the past year. It takes time, it takes devotion, it takes resources to get a niche site over $1,000 plus per month, certainly $10,000 plus per month. And I have seen a difference in people having success, having that determination to put in the time, put in the resources that includes investing a little bit of money into your site, into training, into tools to get your site off the ground and to get yourself in the best position to make money with your site. And then you see some people who are kind of half in on starting a niche site. They don't want to spend a lot of money to get the site off the ground. They don't want to invest in tools or themes or content even, right? They want to write all of their own content so they don't have to spend any money. And they're writing like one article per month and they're not seeing any success. That's not to say that it costs a lot of money to get a niche site to 4 figures per month or more, but it definitely takes dedication, it takes commitment, and it takes some resources. And, you know, after having my Niche Site Academy product out there for 4 years, I've kind of learned that working with different levels of students. So going forward with that program, I'm kind of slightly shifting my target audience on who I'm trying to attract into that program. I'm looking for more serious students who are committed a year plus to growing their niche site, because that sounds like a lot of time, and it kind of is, and it does require time, it does require effort. But as I showed you at the beginning, to create an asset from scratch that can literally pay your mortgage every month is a really good asset to have. So I'll be sharing more details over the coming weeks on kind of how I'm shifting my program in terms of the students that I'm looking for and the commitment that I'm looking for. But I wanted to share in this video the key differences between blogging and niche sites. So I'd be curious to hear your comments below. What do you think are the biggest differences between starting a blog and a niche site, and really the mindset that goes into it? All right, guys, thanks.